Welcome back to Small Biz Chat Live. I'm Melinda Emerson, the Small Biz Lady. Listen, 5 years ago, I started Small Biz Chat because I wanted to end small business failure. I wanted to give you a platform to get answers to your small business questions. We are here live in New York tonight because it is National Small Business Week and we wanted to make it big. We are here with my friend, Peter Rothberg. He is an attorney. He is going to be talking to us tonight about like that legal stuff that you don't want to think about, but it could cost you a lot of money and become a pain in your rump if you're not paying attention. So listen, I want you to know that we are going to take your questions from Twitter. If you're out there, we want you to tweet #SmallBizChat. We definitely want to give you the opportunity to win an HP printer. And I know we got a great question, so we're going to talk about that a little bit. But listen, Peter, you are here with us. You are the lawyer in residence for NYU's entrepreneurship program. Yep. So you get small business legal questions all the time. I also know that you're a partner at a law firm here, Rettler.
Kalis and Rosenblatt.
Kalis and Rosenblatt. Thank you for helping me out. I can't remember everything, you know.
Absolutely.
But listen, talk to us about what are the types of things small business owners need to be thinking about as a startup?
What a lot of small business owners need to think about is they actually need to create an entity that is between them and the public. Because if they don't have that entity there, all their net worth, everything that they've built up from running that business is going to be at risk to anybody out in the business world or anyone at all. So if you create a corporation or a limited liability company to run your business through, you're creating a shield to protect your assets, and the only thing that you're putting at risk is what you've invested in that company. Your whole net worth is not at risk if you do your business through another entity.
All right, so you are not a fan of sole proprietorship. That's what you're saying.
No, I'm really not a fan of sole proprietorship because of that. There is no protection of limited liability when you're doing it that way.
Right.
Everything that you have is on the line.
Right, they can come get the dog, the cat, the car,
dog, the cat, your kids, everything.
Okay.
Sometimes your kids.
Okay, sometimes you want to give your kids away, right? No, but that's not what we're saying. Yeah. But so the other thing I've seen small business owners make a mistake is that sometimes people don't have a legal agreement between people, you know, like best friends or brothers and sisters go into business and there's no real thought about what happens if things go off the rails.
Right. What I like to tell my clients is money changes everything. That you may start your business as the Three Musketeers and you're all going to be there together, but people have selective memory, and if you don't have it written down in an agreement, people will forget what they agreed to with you. In terms of who's running that business, what shares of the business everybody has, and what happens when someone wants to exit the business. If it's not down in writing, it's really difficult because then you end up with a he said, she said kind of a thing. An oral agreement is very difficult to enforce.
Right. And now, actually, I think we have a great Twitter question. There was a young lady who asked a question about how should they go about hiring? Like, what kinds of things you need to take into respect when you are going to hire someone for the first time in your small business?
Well, the first thing you have to think about is, can you really afford to pay them? Because if you're hiring someone and they're not at a managerial level, even if that person would agree to not get paid for a time, you've got to pay people the minimum wage. If someone is an employee, you've got to withhold from them. So you've got to think about, can you afford to do it? That's a big, important thing.
All right. And that question actually came from Live to Bargain. I think her name's Kia. Listen, you're going to get an HP OfficeJet Pro X printer. So thank you so much for sending in your question. The other thing I wanted to ask you, Peter, is when you are thinking about your business, you know, you have intellectual property, you know, things that need to be protected in your business. How soon do you have to start trademarking stuff? And I mean, because isn't it like really super expensive? And
well, you know, what people have to realize is that if you're using something in your business, you already have what we call common law protection. You have the basic protection that if I am using it, I can continue to use it. But what a lot of people do want to do is get a federal protection for the IP in their businesses, for their intellectual property, and that might be the name of your business. You want to make certain that certainly if you're going to go national with your business, or you're going to go on the internet, which makes you international, that you want to make certain that no one else can use your same name and cause confusion between their product and their company and your product. So yes, you have some basic protection without filing for a federal trademark, but you have a much stronger protection if you do.
All right, so let's talk about just copyrights and trademarks. Is there such a thing as a poor man's copyright? Can you mail yourself a copy of something and protect it?
That's not something that I'm familiar with.
Okay. So you would say no.
I would say no.
Is that in your legal opinion?
I would say no.
You would say no. So, I mean, what about social media? Like, how can you protect yourself? There's all these people out here. Social media has enabled us to say anything about anybody at any time, right? So how can you protect yourself from, let's say, a former employee or, someone just going out there and bashing you, or let's say giving you an awful review, like a competitor going on Yelp and like messing you up and giving you a bad review that isn't true? Like, are there any like real legal recourses for that kind of stuff?
Well, I do know that for example, one of my clients makes a particular product, and they were sold on Amazon, and someone began to sell a rip-off product of theirs, and they went to Amazon, and they were able to convince Amazon that they had the right product and these other people had a rip-off product, and they convinced Amazon to take the rip-off product down. So you can do that. You can go to the people that are actually selling your products and convince them that what people are saying about your product or what they're doing in their other business is incorrect. Also, you can also go to Yelp, and you can demonstrate that this is not accurate, right? That these people have some other axe to grind against you, and you do have the opportunity to go and convince the social media channel to take down what is inaccurate or libelous information, which is just not true.
Right. Well, we have another great question. So somebody said, what forms are needed for subcontractors when you bring on subcontractors, particularly around tax time?
Right. Well, if you're hiring a subcontractor, you have to issue to them at the end of the year an IRS form called the 1099. And that 1099 form is going to inform not only the person that you engaged, how much you paid them, and they can then pay their own taxes. They have a very good idea now of what they were paid. But the IRS is also going to know what they were paid, so they can't ignore the income that they received from you. So you will issue independent contractors a 1099 form at the end of the year.
Right. And that question actually came from Lynette Davis. Listen, you and Live to Bargain, you guys need to send an email with your address and information to admin@melindaemerson.com. We're going to get you those HP printers, okay?
Great.
So now let's talk about some other legal issues that people don't think about. When you think about naming your business, can you just name your business anything you want? Or do you have to, like, what if someone in Oklahoma has the same name as your business? I mean, how do you deal with that? Because I feel like space, particularly on the internet, is becoming real limited.
Very,
like
very
all
small.
the good names have already been taken already. So what do you do if you find out that there is a Tasty Baked Cupcakes in another city and that's the name of your business? Like, how do you deal with stuff like that?
Well, there are ways that you can, before you start your business and before you pick your name, I think it is very important that you either go on Google, do some kind of a Google search to see where is this name being used in other places. The way that our laws are set up, though, our laws on trademarking and trade name, is you can continue to use your own name, the name that you pick, as long as it's not causing confusion. Our laws are all about confusion. So if I have the ABC Pizza Company and I'm using that, and someone else has an ABC Beauty Parlor, it's not likely that people are going to be confused, even though both companies are called ABC.
Right.
So it's all about confusion in the marketplace and not just about the use of a name.
Okay. We have another great question off of Twitter. You guys loving this. You got the lawyers in the house, right? So ask your questions. I'm loving this. So Charles Springfield, whose Twitter handle is The Wine Stylings, he said, once you have a legal corporation set up, do you have to file doing business as documents for every business unit? So like, for example, my original company name was Quintessence Entertainment, but years later we started using Quintessence Multimedia. Like, do I have to go and file legal doing business as papers when I start using a different name?
Actually, yes. If you are not, every well, if we talked about corporations, if you set up a corporation, certainly if you are a sole proprietor and you're not doing business in your own personal name, yes, you need to file what we call a DBA form. Those are filed locally where you're actually conducting business. But if you are a corporation, and let's say you're the Quintessence Corporation, but you want to do business in another name, you will have to file a DBA form because now Quintessence is now doing business under a different name. So you will have to do that.
Okay. Now, I know that you work with a lot of folks trying to seek venture capital
Yes.
and investors.
Yes.
Tell me, what are the top things you need to think about if you think your business is ready to go out and seek investors or angel investors or venture capital?
Well, the first thing that you have to think about is, what's the real value of my company? Because what the venture fund or any professional investor is going to want to do is they're going to want to evaluate your company and they're going to want to acquire a certain percentage of your company. And by doing that, they're putting a value on it. So before you start that whole process, you should have an idea of what the value of your company is so you can also have an idea of how much equity, how much ownership you're going to be giving away. You don't necessarily want to get a lot of money from a professional investor, but give up control of your company right off the bat. So figuring out how much you can sell at the particular value of your company then is very important. And if you're going to be giving away too much equity in your company for the amount that people want to invest, then you should think about other ways of financing your business that might not involve the sale of equity.
Thank you so much, Peter. I really, really appreciate you being here.